I'll say thanks to Mike, because I thought he might sort of steal my thunder, but he's given me a very nice lead-in actually, because of course what Mike's been talking about is the speed of change within technological field, and in a way I'm going to talk about the fact that things stay the same. You know, the WEA has been around for over 100 years, and its ethos has always been about people creating opportunities for themselves to engage in education that otherwise they would not have been able to do. You know, not everything is provided. When we started, if you were working class in a job, you couldn't do higher education, and we've kind of started from that point, reaching out to everybody through inclusion projects like DANE and through the work of really committed volunteers to actually make that happen. So that's really kind of what I wanted to talk to a little bit about, because I've been talking to a few people this morning, and I've looked on the DANE website and read some of the blogs, and you know what you've been doing has been really inspirational and really has changed people's lives, and has just introduced a whole new raft of people into developing new skills and engaging in technology in the ways that Mike said. So what I really want to kind of come back to is how that fits into the WEA as a voluntary organisation. And you know, it's probably of no interest to the people in this room, but we've been going through fairly major restructuring over the past 12 months. And one of the things that's come out of that is that the trustees, who are the accountable body for the organisation, who really have the kind of the say in how we run and what we're doing, have decided to set up a whole new directorate with membership and volunteers absolutely at its heart, and that's why I'm in this role, which is a completely new role for the WEA, really sort of putting that sort of development and support of volunteers actually at its heart. But obviously, you know, that's just me, and the way that is going to happen and develop is by tapping into the sort of projects and the work and the training resources that have all been developed through the DANE project. So I think that kind of sums up the priority that we see of taking on board what we learn from projects and actually building that into the way we go forward. But one of the big issues within the WEA recently in terms of its volunteering is that the representation of volunteers is not really reflected in the organisation. So most of our volunteers come from quite traditional, at least not our actual volunteers. We've got a huge number of volunteers that have come through the projects like Community Learning Champions, Learning Revolutionaries, or the Take Part and the Tackling Racial Inequality, and of course DANE. So suddenly over the past 5 years or so, there's been a huge mushrooming of volunteers becoming active in project and developmental work. And that's been hugely influential in how those projects have worked, because it's created really fantastic outcomes for the learners, because being able to work with volunteers from their own community and, you know, that whole sort of peer mentoring and involvement and seeing people like me doing things as role models, that's really crucial to actually getting that level of engagement. And for the volunteers themselves, they develop their self-confidence and self-esteem, and also for themselves see the potential of how they can do new and different things. So we've been really good at actually making all that bit happen. What we've been less good at is getting those people to get involved more directly with the WEA as an educational organisation and as a campaigning movement. So my new role is very much about kind of trying to extend that engagement, to look at what kind of new forums and structures and networks that we might put in place that might add to the traditional branch structure that allows people like the digital activists involved with this project to actually get involved with the WEA in a kind of different way, really. So I'm doing a number of things, and I was at a Slough forum of volunteers last week, and saying much the same sort of thing, trying to get people to get involved. And they were so absolutely fired up with enthusiasm about the benefits that being involved with the WEA and volunteering with the WEA had on their lives. And they're setting up a sort of a local forum, and I managed to persuade one of them to join a new national network that I'm hoping to set up of community learning volunteers. And I'm certainly hoping that one or two people here today from the DAME project will want to come and talk to me and say, oh yeah, I'd quite like to be involved in a national group like that, because it puts people in touch and helps you to share your experiences of working in Nottingham and around this area with people doing similar and different work in a voluntary capacity across the association. And at the same time to start to say, well actually this is our WEA and this is how we want things to be taken forward. So I'm really committed to making that happen, and I'll be right here all day, and hopefully someone will come and talk to me about it. The other thing that we're doing is setting up a staff network, and Andrea's part of that. And that will be very much about trying to make sure that the association learns from the systems and support and training that have been developed through the DAME project, and we can embed that within current practice within the WEA. And I've already been talking to Mary this morning about how we can kind of take and adapt resources, and we're just at the start of developing a virtual learning environment for the WEA as a whole, and here in DAME you've got all this stuff, and that needs to feed into it, and we'll certainly be making sure that it does. So I suppose finally I just want to say that I really hope that the people who have been involved in the project will really want to carry on being involved with the WEA and with other sort of community groups or projects that are going on around the area, because it is individuals' commitment and giving their time and making things happen that really has that impact on communities that makes such a difference. And the WEA has been being a big society since long before the term was even thought about, and will continue being so long into the future. But it only happens because we've got people like you giving time and making things happen. So I'd just like to really sort of say congratulations to everybody, sort of the learners, the volunteers, the staff, everybody who's been involved in the project, because I've been really impressed with what I've seen, and to say thank you for inviting me to come here today to share that with you. Thank you.